Hello owls, and welcome to devlog number 5. This version 90 as we'll call it, is all focused on AI. So a lot of the things that we'll talk about today revolve around that. In addition to that, we have some new soundtrack wonderfulness. So let's jump into it. First and foremost, we have reworked our enemy behaviors. Most creatures now have unique actions that make things a little bit more interesting for the player. As an example, our chipmunk will often visit its hide, and you'll notice after a few times it might leave a present behind. Our pocket mouse will dart away frantically when spotted, and our flying creatures now actually fly. So they're a little bit harder to nail down whenever you need to go and refill your stamina. Our predators also got an overhaul. You'll notice that our wolves will follow their pack leader and are a little bit harder to deal with as they tend to attack in a group. Our bobcats like to stay around trees and will jump very high into the sky. And we have new enemies. Watch the skies for falcons and crows. They're more lethal than ever. Additionally, our ability alternatives that we put in to the previous version were not actually enabled. So now they will drop. You'll be able to play around with the different alternatives and see which ones you like. We also updated our hit detection on player attacks. Before, we were using a line trace, which checked for the actual mesh of the character. This was not very effective in creating a responsive experience when attacking an enemy. So instead, we have that now based on the hitbox, which we had set up before, but we just didn't code it so that the player's attacks were off of that. Additionally, it is now based on a sphere trace instead of a line trace, so there's a little bit more wiggle room to be able to attack enemies. So you should notice better responsiveness. In addition to just general fixes, we have a ton of back-end optimization. I find it important to point these things out, even though you as the player will likely not notice any of them. However, since this is the devlog, we like to identify that we have done these changes in the back end to further progress our iteration. A lot of our optimization comes with utilizing data tables, which have become a blessing in virtually every way to be able to rapidly change and implement new ideas. There's a new dodge in combat. It's currently attached to control, but this is more testing out to see what we think. But the more important thing here is that there is an indicator, which is temporary, that shows above the player's head when they're about to be attacked. So look out for that and try to time your dodges based on that using control. Some final items, we have a new enemy spawner rarity system, so each enemy, including predators and prey, have a rarity attached to them, and will spawn from our spawn handler according to some random values that we've attached. This should help create even more diversity and allow for that sense of, oh, I saw a falcon, which is rare, versus there's a mouse that I see all the time, just as an example. And finally, we have done a scaling balance pass on all the predator and prey. So it should be a lot harder to get strong, especially in the early game. As we saw multiple playthroughs and feedback, it was really easy to scale out the enemies very early on. So hopefully this balance pass should address that. Just as some final notes, please leave some feedback in the feedback form that we've attached inside the game. It's right there on the main menu. Check the known issues for everything that we have put in there, and hopefully you'll see that our enemies are a lot more responsive to the player than they have been. We still have work to do, for sure, in making the AI even more responsive. Bear with us. In the next version, you should see even better responsiveness. And let us know what you think of the new soundtrack and sound effects. We're going to continue to add more of those as we progress and we get time, but hopefully this is starting to make the game feel a little bit more like its own thing. That's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one, which will be our version 1, which is very exciting for us, and we'll be getting closer to our Steam launch, which is coming in June. Look out for a wish list, and see you next time, Owls.